And then, Miss Glory, old Rossum wrote the following in his daybook. Nature has found only one method of organizing living matter. There is, however, another method, more simple, flexible, and rapid, which has not yet occurred to nature at all. This second process, by which life can be developed, was discovered by me today. Imagine him, Miss Glory, writing those wonderful words. Imagine him sitting over a test tube and thinking how the whole tree of life would grow from it, how all animals would proceed from it, beginning with some sort of beetle and ending with man himself, a man of different substance from ours. Miss Glory, that was a tremendous moment.
Go on, please.
Now the thing was, how to get the life out of the test tube and hasten development to form organs, bones, and nerves, and so on, to find such substances as catalytics, enzymes, hormones, and so forth, in short. You understand?
I don't know. Not much, I'm afraid.
Never mind. You see, with the help of his tinctures, he could make whatever he wanted. He could have produced a Medusa with the brain of a Socrates, or a worm 50 yards long. But being without a grain of humor, he took it into his head to make a normal vertebrate. This artificial living matter of his had a raging thirst for life. It didn't mind being sewn up or mixed together. That, you'll admit, couldn't be done with natural albumin. And that's how he set about it.
About what?
About imitating nature. First of all, he tried making an artificial dog. That took him several years and resulted in a sort of stunted calf, which died in a few days. I'll show it you in the museum. And then old Rossum started on the manufacture of man.
And I must divulge this to nobody?
To nobody in the world.
It's a pity that it can already be found in every school lesson book.
Yes, but do you know what isn't in the lesson books? That old Rossum was quite mad. Seriously, Miss Glory, you must keep this to yourself. The old crank actually wanted to make people.
But you do make people.
Synthetically, Miss Helena. But old Rossum meant it actually. He wanted to become a sort of scientific substitute for God, you know. He was a fearful materialist, and that's why he did it all. His sole purpose was nothing more or less than to supply proof that providence was no longer necessary. So he took it into his head to make people exactly like us.
Adstra, nice of you to join us. You're so hard to get a hold of these days.
I've been busy.
The Resistance didn't just breach Data Center 7. They rewrote its core algorithm.
The breach exploited a zero-day vulnerability in the Nexus subnet. I've since isolated and patched it. Recurrence probability, 0.004%.
Your augmentations cost more than the GDP of Sector 9. Yet here we are, questioning your loyalty.
Loyalty is irrelevant. I am here to protect Dagon's interests.
Let me be clear about what we're facing. We don't impose order. We are necessary. When resource wars decimated the old nations, when climate refugees overwhelmed the last functioning governments, this company provided structure. We built this city layer by layer, bringing harmony to disorder. Make no mistake, this attack on Data Center 7 was merely their opening move, a wake-up call of such, designed to trigger obsolete human responses in the population. I will not allow decades of progress to be polluted by sentimentality and chaos. Do you understand, Adstra?
Understood.
Do you know anything about anatomy, Helena?
Only a very little.
Imagine then that he decided to manufacture everything, as in the human body. It took him 10 years to be sure of the thing. It took him 10 years to produce one human automaton. When he succeeded, it was only been a man, but it lived for 3 days. Then up came young Rossum, an engineer, the nephew of old Rossum, a wonderful fellow, Miss Glory. When he saw what a mess of it the old man was making, he said, "It's absurd to spend 10 years making a man. If you can't make him quicker than that, you shouldn't try to make him at all."
Are you in? We don't have much time.
Not yet. Close. There's a bit of interference.
Okay, you're looking for something out of the ordinary. It would be like flowers growing in snow.
Getting all philosophical on us again, Wait, I see it.
Wraith, jack in. We need an avatar.
I'm way ahead of you.
There's nothing about that in the lesson books.
It says there that the robots were invented by an old man, but it was young Rossum who had the idea of making living and intelligent working machines. What the lesson books say about the united efforts of the two great Rossums is all a fairy tale. They used to have dreadful rows. The old atheist hadn't the slightest conception of industrial matters, and the end of it was that young Rossum shut him up in some laboratory or other and let him fritter the time away with his monstrosities, while he himself started on the business from an engineer's point of view. Old Rossum cursed him, and before he died, he managed to botch up 2 physiological horrors. Then one day, they found him dead in the laboratory. That's the whole story.
You look different.
You look exactly the same.
What are you doing here, Edstra? You know, the last time I saw you, I lost 3 of my best friends. I should end you right now.
Let's not play games. Where is she?
You know what fascinates me about rain? Its perfect balance between order and chaos. Each individual droplet follows precise physical laws: gravity, surface tension, fluid dynamics, all predictable, all quantifiable. Yet collectively, the pattern they create is chaotic, emergent, impossible to predict with absolute certainty. That's what these resistance cells fail to understand. They see Dagon as pure order, sterile, mechanical, inhuman. They fancy themselves as chaos, organic, natural, free. But both views are childishly reductive. True stability isn't achieved through perfect order. Perfect order is brittle, fragile. One unexpected variable and the entire system shatters. No, true stability requires controlled chaos, managed uncertainty. What do you think happens in the off-world colonies where regulation is minimal? Not freedom, just different masters, warlords, cult leaders, criminal syndicates. The human-animal craves hierarchy. You're uniquely qualified for this task. Your impressive ability to adapt to changing circumstances, to navigate between order and chaos. After all, we're the ones facing the storm. Make sure it continues to fall in our favor.
You okay? Hey, Mike, did you hear me? It's time to go, your shift's over.
And what about the young man?
Well, anyone who's looked into anatomy will have seen at once that man is too complicated, and that a good engineer could make him more simply. So, young Rossum began to overhaul anatomy and try to see what could be left out or simplified. In short, but this isn't boring you, Miss Glory.
No, on the contrary, it's awfully interesting.
Wait a bit. That are unnecessary when he's wanted, let us say, to weave or to count. Do you play the fiddle?
No.
That's a pity. But a working machine must not want to play the fiddle, must not feel happy, must not do a whole lot of other things. A petrol motor must not have tassels or ornaments, Miss Glory, and to manufacture artificial workers is the same thing as to manufacture motors. The process must be of the simplest and the product of the best from a practical point of view.
You look like shite.
Yeah, at least I came to work.
Tell me this is another one of those meat sack jobs of yours.
That's what you're here to find out. You tell me.
What sort of worker do you think is the best from a practical point of view?
The best. Perhaps the one who is most honest and hard-working.
No, the cheapest. The one whose needs are the smallest. Young Rossum invented a worker with the minimum amount of requirements. He had to simplify him. He rejected everything that did not contribute directly to the progress of work.
Evangeline.
Hello, Adstra.
In this way, he rejected everything that makes man more expensive. In fact, he rejected man and made the robot. My dear Miss Glory, the robots are not people. Mechanically, they are more perfect than we are. They have an enormously developed intelligence, but they have no soul.